This is the kind of thing I love because it's history, but it's true history. It's not the fake history that we were taught. And medieval times was when this is the time when the time of no time existed. And during the medieval, that's why it's called medieval times, they changed it. That's when it was corrupted and taken over by clocks, calendars, months. Everything was changed during that time because that was when they started to take control of the human mind and start the programming and changing everything. Um, King Arthur was a good man, and they're trying to tell us. Well, if you look it up, because I looked it up after my channelings to see, they're trying to tell you he went a bit, and a bit crazy and a bit evil. Well, he wasn't. His best friend and his confidant was the wizard Merlin. And one of his best friends, or one of his confidants, was also Lancelot, who was a knight of the Round Table, but he actually betrayed him by him and Lady Geneva fell in love. So that's really interesting too. And his castle was known as Camelot. Now, Camelot Castle is not where they say it is today. The real Camelot Castle was built in Wales. It's part of the Holy Grail. It is part of that huge area of the Holy Grail. And this is yet to be discovered. So another thing I have to go visit, find the Castle Camelot. Now, talking about the sword, talking about how powerful the sword is. Now, the sword, you know how on the grid you've got the selenite coming out as swords. It's also, if you look at the way she's designed it, and I don't know if you did that intentionally or not, it's like a sundial with the points coming out, right? So the sword foretold the time. How did it do it? They held it up like that, and as the sun came down on it, whichever angle it was, so if it was out that way, it was 12 o'clock, mid morning, lunchtime, afternoon, late evening, evening. So the shadow of the sun fell on the sword, and it told you what time of day it was by the shadow on the ground. Wow. How amazing is that? This is before sundials, this is before anything other than the sword was used for that purpose. They would hold it up, even the Vikings, they would hold their spears and swords up, and where the sun fell, they knew exactly what time of day it was. So they had so many whatever to before it was nightfall to get inside or whatever. That's how they knew. The sword foretold the time. And so it carried that power. That was, to them, your sword wasn't just a weapon. It was very, very powerful. Okay. Merlin, the great wizard leader of all wizards and brotherhood, advisor and friend to King Arthur. This is what he told me. Medieval time was the real time of Earth before the manipulation of calendars and self-time. And what he means by self-time, it's set time, because we set our time by it. Many still use sunrise and sunset to tell the time. The time was created to start control of the human mind. So they used sunset and sunrise, and the sword foretold the rest of the times during the day. That's how they knew their times. They didn't know what month or day or year it even was. That is why history is a lie, because they never kept track of years. They can sort of guess, oh, this was 12th century to, I think they call medieval times 12th to the 16th century, something like that. But we can't be sure because they didn't keep records. Any records have always been destroyed, or as we know today, was taken by the Vatican. There were many roles being played out to stop this or to create this. It is the same as now on earth. It is a repeat of what is happening, and that you were there and here now to make or create the change. So you see the same thing is happening back then. A whole reset is happening. We were there in medieval times when change was taken over to time. We are now here to create new earth and to restore everything back. And that's what he's saying. We were there. We were in that time. So we know how this plays out. So we're not actually from the future. We are from the past. Good light or evil or dark we were, depending on your role and soul journey at the time. So we were either playing a dark role or a light role at that time. So that's how we know how it plays out. We were either on one side or the other. And we're together now as light to return the balance back, to reverse, push it back to what it is. You think that you have come from the future, but you have come from the past to change the future. How strong is that? Yes, some planets are in the future. So not in this galaxy, in other galaxies, but not Earth. Earth hasn't fully ascended yet. So it's not in the future. It never has been. So if anyone tries to tell you that, it's not true. However, those that have come from future planets are the ones from the future, not us. Earth has never been in a position where it's been allowed to ascend. That's why it's all so new. It's the first time Earth is ascending. Many of you have been realigned to a different role, bloodline, and to correct the DNA that has been manipulated from the past. So you've been realigned to a completely different bloodline for this role, for this time. And Angel nailed it the other day. She messaged me to say something about bloodlines. And I said, no, we're all in different bloodlines than we were ever meant to be, because we came from those parents that were either Cabbage Patch babies or orphans on the trains, or they were other manipulated children brought out to different countries and cities, and then we were children of them. And it's really interesting because I got a download yesterday about my own mother, and I found out, because she's one of those special green-eyed, red-haired beings, that she is direct bloodline to King Arthur.
Oh,
Yeah, we're from King Arthur bloodline. And we
wow.
didn't know that because my grandmother was a Cabbage Patch baby. That's why we never knew the history. You didn't know the history. And that's why you don't feel like you belong or fit to that bloodline. And that is why you're told you're here to change things through family, through ancestry, all those lines, because this time around, you're making more than one change. You're making a lot of change. And it was like, this is getting deep. This is layer. Remember, I said the other day, this is layer upon layer upon layer. So we've been brought into these bloodlines that aren't really our bloodlines. It's like far out. Okay. So as Merlin said, many of you have been realigned to a different role, bloodline, to correct the DNA that has been manipulated from the past. How amazing is that? This has to happen before full ascension is completed for you and Earth.
That makes sense.
It's like, far out, guys. Okay, right. And I'm trying to do this, and I've got chainsaws going off over there, got a lawnmower going off over there, and I had to shut all my windows and doors and sweat in the heat so I could channel it. I was going, hang on a minute. And that's when I got. This is really weird because, okay, thinking mum is related to King Arthur. King Arthur was red-haired and green-eyed Welshman. And then I got, he is from a long line of Vikings. The Vikings were red-haired, mostly green-eyed, holding codes. The Vikings are holding codes of the divine oneness.
Wow.
And I was like, hang on a minute. So this is why King Arthur was in his place. He came from very basic beginnings. because he had those codes. He was trying to make the kingdom, the real Israel, as we believe it to be, the oneness energy. He fought for that kingdom really hard. I said, what is the truth about King Arthur? Question mark. And this is what's been coming in. So got that here with a question mark. First, Merlin said he was betrayed by many, including his wife, as Adam was by Eve and Satan. So see repeated patterns here. Everything's happening again. Good man. And I said, it seems, this is me talking to Merlin. It seems all good man of history has been betrayed. And I put in brackets and asked him, Trump? And he nodded and he said, yes. You know, he's been put through the court system. They're saying he's done this, he's done that. All these good leaders have been betrayed. They do good work, and that is not recognized by the evil. They love to have you replaced by an agenda. This is Merlin. I was like, okay, I get it now. All right, got it. And then he says repetitive patterns, time reversal, time forward 1,000 years. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, medieval time was changed and put forward 1,000 years. We're not even in our real year or time. It doesn't exist because they put it ahead 1,000 years. They reset it. We're not even in 2025. That's why nothing's working. You look at the great people that have channeled over the years, and the prophecies and everything are not adding up. They're there, they're real, but they're not real to the year that we're in because we're not in the real year. So we can't judge it because we're not in the real year. Was it Amadeus? He said, all these things, but it wasn't for 2025 because we're not really in 2025. Merlin's almost crying at this point for his love for King Arthur, by the way. And he's crying. He's got kind of tears coming because it was his beloved friend. And he's going, King Arthur was a good man. He came from humble beginnings, but became well known for his kindness and love of the land. He was a great soldier, warrior, king of victory, we called him. It stood for truth and for the people like many of you do. So he fought hard to keep that alignment there, that oneness of the real Israel, before it got totally manipulated and changed. I tell you, I did a lot of channeling yesterday. The king was a light worker, there to hold the earth grid in place. He became popular due to his work of the land and the righteousness for the people. Does that sound like Trump? Now, think of Trump's just been given crowns and things. Hello. They're showing it all over Instagram. King Trump, King Arthur, same type of energy. The true kings, not the fake royal kings as we know them to be. He created his own council of knights that were also on the mission to keep the land and people safe, free, and abundant. So he created his own table of knights, which some of them ended up betraying him because they were on that evil journey that Merlin was talking about, our bloodlines and things. Many double-crossed the king, betrayed him. Later in life, he became angry, hurt, and dysfunctional. Because this is when people changed the story, made him sound like he was evil, cuckoo, da-da-da. He became very inverted into himself, and he became very, I'm just with one here. I'm not connecting with any of you. I'm just too hurt. I'm not connecting with any of you anymore. I give up, kind of thing. And he became like, when you think of the monks that sit in silence for hours and hours, this is what he did. He became very dysfunctional to the rest of the people. when in fact he was just, what he was probably doing at that time was anchoring the codes. He was fighting a spiritual war of holding those codes in, but because there was so much betrayal about changing time and space, it was just one man against all these others. The Council of the Dark leaders hijacked the Knights' meetings and minds to take over the empire of the real Israel, and that is when time was stolen and reset, for those were the actions of many resets to come. Look how many resets we've had. I'm not going to find this in history books, guys. Many say Arthur will return, and I questioned it and said, is that Trump? What do you think? It gets deep. As the confidant, I gave his great warrior sword the power to be the magic needed to hold the codes of time and to hold the earth grid to a certain true timeline. So Merlin did the coding of the sword, the magic sword. And what he did was and this is when they showed me how they used to hold them up and get the light around it to watch the time. And so he put those codes in there to hold that timeline. And that's what we've got to go back and activate today, to no time, when it was no time at all. There wasn't, it didn't exist, because that's what New Earth is going to be. There's going to be no time. Time doesn't exist. Your mission, and this is Merlin telling me now, he's getting serious. He had been crying. He'd gone through a lot of emotions. This was an emotional journey for him and I. Your mission, if you duly, now he's talking like medieval, if you duly accept, I had to look up what that meant, is to go back to the meetings of later time to reset so that the true no time is repaired. That's our mission today. We've got to go back to the meeting and reset it and see what our role was in it and who we were and what part did we have. He said, this is the activation. Now, this is very serious, because when you do the activation, you have to sit still. You cannot move, because if you move the codes of the present time. So you have to actually sit really, really. I'm trying to write it and not move my hand, because he said, you can't move. But I said, I have to write it. So you can imagine what it was like for me yesterday. I am sending through, and this is why Val picked up. When did you start doing the grid, Val?
I started cleaning the crystals yesterday. I put it together, and I somewhat put it together yesterday, but today was interesting.
So that was your Saturday?
I had so many discussions with the crystals. I don't want to be by that crystal. No, I don't want to be across from that crystal.
That explains we're not allowed to move, you see. We've got to sit still and be not rubbing, or, it's kind of like, yeah, that makes so much sense because of what he described to me. So we can't sway, move, shake, sneeze, whatever, because the present moment is for that to go back and reset. So he says, I am sending through an activation for the time reset and to undo the damage that was once done to time. I'm going to type this all up, this activation. He says, be still, dear ones. Do not move, as your space is crucial for this activation. And I was like, okay, right. And I was too scared to move my pen. He said, just a little bit. He said, remember, we used to not write with pens. I went, oh, yeah, they probably just had a little bit of, something. So, hand on heart. We hold the space so that time is able to be reset to non-time. Only dimensional time will now exist. That will become new earth. Repeat these words. Time is an illusion. It is a space that does not exist. It is on a fragment of a dimension that was created for slavery, implanting control. I am the keeper of my own time. I am no time that was created falsely. I am my own space. I am not of falsely created space. Earth is the keeper of its own dimensional time, of the highest consciousness across all galaxies and universes. Earth is no longer trapped in a manipulated time. It is now free. The people are free. The minds are free. Codes can now be destroyed of time. Of this darkness no longer exists. We are the new keepers of real space, God's space, the space of Gaia, and all that is light-coded in high consciousness frequency. I do not belong to time. Time does not control me. Earth does not belong to time. Earth is not controlled by fake time. The citizens of Earth are free. Earth is free. I lo wa say so mi ni na ma ti. And so it is. He said, Excalibur, the sword, must now pierce the false time. Rise, beautiful sword, be seen. Pretty powerful, huh?
Mm.
So the sword is now going to be part of us. Because we've been controlled for so long, and New Earth is not going to be controlled. Neither are we. We're taking all our new freedom with us to the New Earth. So it's a huge mission. And I was asking them, I said, well, why did this happen? How did we let this happen? They said, you didn't let it happen. King Arthur tried to stop it. He was one man, just one man on his own. And this is why so much has happened through time, because it's usually just one or two or a small group of people against a whole lot. And so this is why it's got to be reversed and changed. And so this is where we step in as part of our role and our purpose in rainbow codes. So I got told that we have to read the message of God from 109 and celebrating new earth creation, and it's new earth affirmations. So the message from God. I am your God, Heavenly Father. I will be with you always. Never turn your eyes away from me. I stay and remain the same throughout eternity. I will never let you down. I give you your life, love, and light, source to be pure of everlasting light. You, dear ones, are the blessed. You are here to be leaders of the new world. I give you my love, my faith in you, my energy to carry on. I am the light force that wins throughout time. I am your God. I created you. I know you. I know your heart. I know your light force. I will guide you. I will show you the way, but you have free will. Earth is the test for your soul journey. Be blessed, dear ones. So he's telling you. He's telling you. Celebrating New Earth creation, New Earth affirmation, and it's page 110. So it goes 109 to 110. Be guided by the highest form of consciousness. Create new reality, freedom, abundance, sovereignty, karmically corrected. Affirmation. Hand on heart. We are now divine guidance. Our guidance was blocked. It is now unblocked. We now acknowledge our power. We have positive intentions of the highest light love vibration. We manifest all that is required to be service to humanity in divine timing. We are connected to the universe in the highest dimensional level. We create a new world of freedom, love, and sovereignty. We are loved and supported by a pure light source. We are protected by only the highest light. Nothing, if we do not consent, can harm us. We only focus on gratitude and positivity. We see New Earth and work amongst it in service. So those affirmations are really good for 2026. We should be doing them probably, get up in the morning and do one at least every day. And that's on page 110. So that's my thing next year, doing more affirmations, because I think as you speak it out to the universe, it becomes a reality.